I apologize for the 720p resolution quality of my gameplay. My PC cannot run this game as smoothly as I want it to on 1080, especially when recording. But that brings me to the first thing that I want to talk about, the graphics. Even on the lowest settings in 720p, the game still looks amazing thanks to the anti-aliasing and detailed models and textures. And more importantly, it runs like a first-person shooter should, blazing fast. However, I don't really care about graphics. I'm a TF2 player. What do you expect? But no matter how good the graphics are, you can't have a game without gameplay. And boy, this game has some serious gameplay. Now when I talk about gameplay, you'll probably think about the different variants of weapons, enemies, combat mechanics, etc. And that is true, they are awesome. But this game has even more than that. A video game is like a burger. The meat patty is the most interesting thing in the game. It can be the story, the art style, the gameplay, etc. And also, you can't forget to have the bread, lettuce, or tomatoes, or whatever you put in your burgers. That's because no matter how good the patty is, only eating the meat will make the flavors stale. So what's the point of this burger talk? Well, for Doom Eternal, the combat is the meat, and the platforming, puzzle-solving sections are the lettuce and tomatoes. If Doom Eternal had nothing but combat arenas, the game would get really stale. But with the platforming and puzzle solving and other things, the gameplay has more variety and the game's pacing will be a lot smoother and more enjoyable. That's why I love the platforming and puzzles and secret hunting in this game. It gives you a break from the intense combat arenas. My favorite non-combat activity in this game is hunting down secrets. There are many items that you can find in a level, from cool collectibles such as toys, albums, cheat codes, to actual useful items such as 1-ups, suit tokens, weapon mods, and sentinel crystals. The secrets are hidden quite well. You need to be very observant and be aware of your surroundings to find a secret. This keeps you wondering whether you've missed an item or not, which is awesome because it gives you more time to appreciate the levels that are just simply beautiful, both graphically and aesthetically. Each level is generally visually unique to each other, and all of them look detailed and amazing. The map and arena layout design is also outstanding. The level's super gore nest is definitely a highlight for me. The level's design just makes this level such a joy to play. Secrets are scattered into each corner of the map. The arenas are large and challenging. It features fun platforming sections, arenas with buff totems, toxic water sections, and it ends with Doomguy's escape and with a cutscene showing the collapse of the gore nest. In addition, Doom Eternal has a very fitting soundtrack. The soundtrack even adapts to what you're doing in the game. When you're in an intense fight, the intensity of the soundtrack also ramps up. When you're simply doing platforming or finding secrets, the soundtrack gets quieter and calmer. Man, I really can't express how much the soundtrack makes the game better. I'll just let the footage do the speaking itself. Now that I've talked about most aspects of the game, I can finally talk about the most important thing, the combat. You have a lot of weapons in this game. Here's a list of them with a short description from the Doom Wiki. Feel free to pause the video to read it. Each weapon has 2 mods that give an alternate fire mode to the weapon. For example, the combat shotgun has the sticky bombs mod and the full auto mod. The sticky bombs are great for clearing a bunch of weak demons quickly, and the full auto can deal lots of damage to a single target. Since there are so many weapons, I'm just gonna mention two of my favorites. The heavy cannon itself is not that great, but when you get that precision bolt mod, oh boy, it gets a lot better. This mod allows you to fire a powerful shot when scoped in. The shot can one-shot weaker enemies, take out weak points, and do a decent amount of damage. And it just looks and feels so cool, right? The super shotgun is not only a great damage dealer, its meat hook is even a useful utility item. The hook acts like a grapple that allows you to fly towards your target. It can be used to get a fast chainsaw kill on fodder demons, close in the distance so that you can maximize your damage output, and it can give you more mobility. It's just impossible to not love this thing. The way to obtain resources such as health, armor, and ammo in this game is quite unconventional. You get health by glory killing, a finisher that can be performed to demons that are glowing. You get ammo by killing enemies with a chainsaw, and you can get armor from demons that are ignited from your flame belch. As you can see, obtaining resources forces you to actively participate in the combat, effectively eliminating the downtime where you run away from the enemies and scavenge for health. And of course, you can both ignite and chainsaw demon to get both armor and ammo. The grenades and ice bombs in this game are just so useful. They can be launched while firing, which makes it feel so cool to use. The grenades can stun demons and deal damage, and the ice bomb literally freezes them. They can be upgraded with suit tokens too, making them even more powerful. Launching a grenade at a demon's feet while shooting them makes you feel like you're doing some next level 40 chess move. These launchables are such a significant addition to Doom Eternal's combat. The game definitely won't be as good as it is without them. Again, since there are tons of demons, I'm just going to show you the list of monsters from the Doom Wiki. The fodder demons such as imps, soldiers, and gargoyles are weak demons that aren't much of a threat themselves. They are great for farming resources because of that, but in numbers they can overwhelm you if you're not well prepared. Heavy monsters are strong but have different weaknesses. Revenants, arachnotrons, and mancubi have weak points that allow you to disarm them with sticky bombs, precision bolt shots, ballista shots, etc. They won't be useless after the disarm though. They can still perform other weaker attacks. The Pinkies and Spectres are monsters that will rush at you. Just shoot them in their back and they'll die. The invisibility of the Spectre is a bit too obvious for me though. I wish they could be less visible to make the game more intense. The snake-like Whiplash can get insta-killed with the rocket launcher's lock-on burst. The Hell Knight also rushes to the player without hesitation like the Pinky. Faltering him with grenades, freezing him with an ice bomb, or just plain firepower is your best bet. There are more heavy monsters, but dragging this any longer will get pretty boring. So let's move on to the super heavies. The Doom Hunter requires you to destroy his sled before you can damage him. The Marauder can only be hit when his eyes are flashing. The two monsters actually make their first appearances in the campaign as a boss fight, and they appear as a normal enemy later on. This is awesome as it reflects how the player has improved both in terms of equipment and skill. And as you can tell, each demon has to be dealt with differently, so you'll have to use your brain real hard during combat. Not everything about this game is good though. Now you see, there are plenty of Let's Play channels on YouTube, and if you go and watch some of the first playthroughs of Doom Eternal, you'll find out that most people can't play the game as intended, aka using every weapon and mechanic provided by the game. Well, that's because the game adds too much mechanics on the fly, and it has a really horrible tutorial. When the game wants to teach you something, it uses a pop-up window with boring text. There is some footage shown, but Doom Eternal's mechanics are just too complex for one video to represent. The texts are boring to read, and most gamers probably won't read it carefully. And even if you read those texts word by word, you still won't understand how to play the game better, as the texts are just very brief descriptions. To understand the game better, you need to understand how certain mechanics such as faltering works, and in the single player campaign, it doesn't really explain how filtering works fully. This mechanic allows player to literally stun demons and prevent them from firing. It's basically essential to doing combos, and the game doesn't even, try to mention it to the general player base. The game just sucks at teaching players, and no one can ever truly understand the game on his or her first playthrough. Unlike Doom 2016, this game features a lot of cutscenes. Thankfully, the cutscenes are skippable and they have a good sense of humor.
Would you like me to disable the safety protocols? The pod is set to self-destruct.
So, the cutscenes aren't really a problem. But you know what's a problem? The animations. Most of the animations in this game are unskippable. For instance, you can't skip the animation of Doom Guy plugging in batteries, obtaining a suit token, acquiring a weapon mod, checking out a secret, and the list goes on and on. And worst of all, because of the large amounts of unlockables and secrets in this game, there are also large amounts of animations for them that are also unskippable. This may seem like a minor inconvenience, especially for your first playthrough, but if you are a frequent player, the animations will only get more and more tiring, and you will start to notice that these animations destroy the carefully designed pacing of the game. I just cannot imagine how speedrunners can still remain sane after watching minutes of animations that they have seen hundreds of times each playthrough. I certainly hope that they allow us to skip animations in the upcoming updates. So, in conclusion, Doom Eternal's pacing and combat system is very rich and refined. In fact, it's the best combat system that I've ever seen in a video game. If you like FPS games, you will like Doom Eternal very much. But if you're not quite fond of FPS games or even dislike them, then I recommend you to play other FPS games that are both simpler and really less expensive. Thanks for watching, and have a good one.